The gap is too big for just one or two teachers to do this. The gap is too big. It needs a whole school. It needs a school trying to work together to figure out how can we repair many, many years of failure, lost dreams, lost hopes, because that's what we're fighting. We're fighting the kids who don't believe really they can do it. One of the things that we've tried to do in all of our studies is we've tried to pick a couple of high-achieving kids, average achieving, low achieving, and students with disabilities. We call them HALO, high achieving, average achieving, low achieving, and others. Others would be those kids who don't fit neatly into any of those categories, and students with disabilities are often those kids. So when we've done those studies, we've taken data to find out if we do things in a more explicit way for this group of kids, what happens to the motivation, interest, achievement of those other kids? And what we've found is even if a teacher is doing something that's effective for low-achieving kids, they will stop doing that if they see the motivation and the interest of their high-achieving kids begin to wane. So they'll drop it and then they'll turn their attention to those students. So it's really a reality that we have to teach all kids, and so the methods, the routines have been tested against that. It means that you're co-constructing, it means that you're involving the kids, it means you are looking to your high-achieving kids to answer maybe some of the more difficult questions and unpack it. So it really is a give and take to keep the interest, because you're pulling from the background of the kids, and you're pulling the background from all the kids, not just a subgroup. And you know, one of the things that we want all kids to see is how to structure information in different ways. And some of the same things that we're using to be explicit, those high-achieving kids are going to use those tactics and strategies in college to be able to structure the information for their learning. I was in an English class and asked a kid, "What's this on the wall?" "Oh, those are 10 course questions." And it was him and a friend came up and were wondering why I had entered their classroom while the teacher was teaching, and they said, "Well, why are you here? Why is that? Why are you here?" And I said, "Well, what are those questions? What's that?" And that's our course questions. Well, then I said, "Well, what's this?" "That's our course map." "Well, what is your course map?" "Well, I'm supposed to be able to tell you where we are in the course, where we were before, where we're going, and what we're learning." "Well, can you?" And these two boys kind of looked at one another, they're both like 8th graders, and they had this little conversation about where they were. It goes, "Yes, we can tell you, we're right here, and this is what we're learning. And then we're going to go on to the poetry unit next, and we're going to learn these things." I go, "Cool." "And the questions?" "Well, we're supposed to be able to answer those questions." It was like March, and so the year was almost 3/4 of the way over with. "So what does that mean?" "Well, we should be able to answer most of those questions." "Well, can you?" Again, they look at each other and they have this little question one. "Well, I kind of like that. Yeah, I think this is the answer." They basically went through and answered most of the questions. They go, "Well, that's all we've got until we can't answer the rest of them." Okay. That's an example of what kids should be aware of. This is what we're learning. These are the questions that this class is about. This is the structure of the information. This is how I learn a concept. These are the tools I use to learn a concept. This is how I use this tool when the teacher's not around or when I take it to another class. Should be able to see evidence of explicit instruction that the kids can talk about. It's not something that we do to them. The kids have to fully engage in it. And it's almost like you see it, but you also have to talk to the kids about, well, how have they used these tools? The two young men who came up to me, one of those boys is in the Gifted and Talented program, and the other is one of my students with learning disabilities. So it works in any class with a whole diverse group of students.